Learning shouldn't stop when the school bell rings. As a parent, you're a key component to your child's education team and the key to making sure that learning never stops. I'm Andy Ford, President of the Florida Education Association. Here are a few things you can do at home to help make education and learning a priority. Talk to your child about school every day. Take your child on family outings to parks, community festivals, and local landmarks. Encourage your child to count money, calculate change, read menus, read newspapers, and write letters. Talk to your child about your family, the holidays you celebrate, and the foods you eat. Learning doesn't stop when your child gets home from school. It's just the beginning. Working together, parents and teachers can make this a successful school year for every student in Florida.
A message from the Florida Education Association. Great public schools are a basic right for every student.
Would you like to have a wider, brighter smile? Well, you can at JJ Dental for the month of March. In-office teeth whitening for just $250. The usual cost, $600, but for the month of March, just $250. Call and schedule your appointment today. 954-463-7262. 954-463-7262. Online, jjdentalpractice.com.
Would you like to start working from home? Then do what over 200,000 people have done. Take an investment class at Online Trading Academy. Online Trading Academy is a real brick-and-mortar classroom school that teaches people of all ages how income is made with stocks, options, futures, forex, even Bitcoin. At Online Trading Academy, you learn techniques used by pro traders, banks, and institutions, and how they make money in up, sideways, and down markets. Learn how to pick the right investments, how to time the market, and how to limit the risk on all trades with a patented rules-based strategy taught only at Online Trading Academy. If you're looking for a way to start working from home, do what over 200,000 students have done. Call now for a pair of tickets to a free half-day class in Broward or Palm Beach at Online Trading Academy, the leader in investment education. Call 954-668-2510. 954-668-2510. 954-668-2510.
Talk here, talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
If you've been injured in an accident and you believe that your health is the most important, if you've been injured in an accident and you believe that your health is the most important thing in the world to you, then we're here to help you. My name's David Eltringham of the Eltringham Law Group. And at ELG, everything that we do is about helping our clients to restore their health and heal from their injuries. I believe that if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, and all the money in the world doesn't matter. So if you've been injured and you want a law firm that actually cares about you, getting you better, and then getting you the financial justice that you deserve, we're the right firm for you. At ELG, we dream of a world with no accidents, but until then, we're here to help you.
That has been serving the Tri-County area for over 35 years. The Encore Boca Raton's stellar rehabilitation program significantly enriches the health and well-being of patients by delivering specialized therapies to return you rapidly back on your feet. Our patient-centered comprehensive nursing and rehabilitation programs include neurology, orthopedics, cardiac and pulmonary care, post-operative surgical care, and outpatient therapies. With spacious therapy gyms, elegant dining, beautiful private and semi-private suites, and an array of comfort-enhancing services and amenities, patients enjoy high-caliber, proactive care in an encouraging and vibrant setting. The Encore at Boca Raton accepts Medicare and other major insurances. Located on West Palmetto and Powerline, call 561-392-3000 to schedule your personal tour. That's 561-392-3000, or visit theencoreatboca.com for more information today. The Encore at Boca Raton is a proud member of the Care Right Centers Network.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Do you have a hot new business or an established business that offers great and unique services or products that you want to get the word out? Are you looking to grow your business and you want everyone to hear the buzz about it? Do you have an amazing project or an idea that impacts our community that you want to share and get others involved in? Then you've come to the right place. You're listening to Community Connections with Norma G. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero, and I want to share our passions while connecting with our community. So now let's get ready to hear about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening on Community Connections with Norma G. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Really cool. It ties right into what I did, obviously. It's in a different level. Are we on? We're on. We're on the air. I just don't see myself on the screen, but welcome to Community Connections. I am your host, Norma Guerrero, and today is Monday, March 12th, 2018, and there I am. There we are. So welcome back, everyone. Hope everybody had a great weekend and that, you know, you got to spend some time relaxing with yourself, whether you're here or on the East Coast or West Coast. And so, like I said, you're listening to Community Connections. I'm your host, Norma Guerrero, and you're listening to us on 95.3 FM, 1470 AM. You can also find us on 1470 AM on your iHeart app, as well as we are live streaming on Community Connections with Norma G on Facebook. So, want to thank you for tuning in and for listening and for always constantly coming back to the show week after week. And so we have some fabulous guests tonight. We have returning once again. We have David Eltringham with the Eltringham Law Group, and he's going to be coming on in the second half of the show. And he's going to be sharing with us about his practice and about clients' rights and a variety of other things as well. And so we'll be tuning in to him. And at the top of the show, we have two very, very special guests. And their names are Todd Schaffhauser and Dennis Oehler, and they are Paralympic gold medalists, and they are with the Amputee Walking School, affiliated or partnering with Care Right Centers. And Care Right Centers, as you guys have heard me talk about over the last several weeks, is the parent company of the Encore Boca Raton. And so, as many of you know, my title sponsor for the show is the Encore Boca Raton, and they are a skilled nursing and rehab facility located here in Boca Raton and formerly known as the Whitehall Boca, and they recently took over and acquired the facility on January 1st, 2018 of this year. And I myself, as an occupational therapist, have been very excited about this transition because Care Right Network owns multiple facilities throughout New York, New Jersey, and now they're acquiring, and I believe some other states. The gentleman will be able to fill us in a little bit more. They know a little bit more. They've been more affiliated with them longer than I have. And now they've acquired a few facilities here in Florida. They've had Tampa and Jupiter, and now they've added Boca as well as Miami. And so they have a very, very unique clinical model that, as I've mentioned before, they've brought in this urban zen, where bringing in some stress management and some anxiety management services for the staff and for the clients as while they're rehabilitating to try and help people improve and work on those aspects of the care, not to be so dependent on their medicines or on it's very stressful when you get ill and injured. And so that's one of the things. They brought back concierge services, laundry services, chauffeur services, as well as now they're moving into bringing in more advanced clinical programs into the rehabilitation. And so these two gentlemen that I have here today are part of that partnership with the Care Right Network. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce them now. And so Dennis Oehler and Todd Schaffhauser, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much for being here. And these two gentlemen just flew in this morning from New York because that's your home base, right?
Yep. Yes, it is.
That's great. And so tell me a little bit about your background and your partnership with Care Right Network and what you plan on enhancing. You know, we have a base knowledge of what I failed to mention is these two gentlemen are, like I mentioned, they're Paralympians.
Retired,
and they are
long time ago.
They are professional amputee sprinters, and one of these gentlemen, they are an above the knee amputation, and the other one is a below knee amputation, and they went and proceeded to get gold medals, and now you've invested your time and energy and business into wanting to give back through a business, of course, to the entire nation.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
It's been a journey, and so welcome to Florida.
Oh,
thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, we're both former Paralympic retired athletes, Paralympic athletes, and we competed in the 1988 Paralympic Games, 1992, and 1996.
Is that right?
We were both sprinters, track and field, plus Dennis did long jump.
Yep. Both the fastest leg amputee sprinters in the world, basically.
And
in
at
1988
in 1988, and at that time,
infancy stage.
I know that the technology of the prostheses is tremendous these days. But where was it at in 1988 that you could jump and run without it collapsing on you?
It was it was still walking legs. So it was a very infancy stage. Carbon graphite feet just came out. So we were the first to be able to trial them and use them. And being in the United States, we got the technology first. So a lot of these countries had to wait. Our athletes, had this technology right away. But it was a game changer having, carbon graphite feet versus the old style technology of, Satch feet and even the rubberized.
We came at a time when, like Todd said, the graphite feet just came about. And as a result of that, with the help of our physical therapist, because our physical therapist was the type of person that not only brought us to a functional level, but really had a passion for amputees and became our track coach. So volunteering his time, he would drive from Manhattan out to Long Island 4 days a week and train Todd and I. And as a result of his commitment to us, we both became the fastest leg amputee sprinters in the world. Todd, as an above-the-knee amputee, actually ran 100 meters in 14 seconds on an above-knee prosthesis.
Incredible.
For people that don't know track and field, that's motoring down the track. My 100-meter time that same year, we compete in different categories, was 11.7 seconds.
Right.
So the difference between myself and the great Carl Lewis was less than 2 seconds. And so as a result of that, it was newsworthy. And we wound up signing contracts and had careers as professional amputee sprinters, traveling all over the world, teaching amputees to run. Because in the infancy stage of all this, there was only 5 guys in Todd's race. That was it. So we literally traveled for over a decade, traveling all over the world, teaching amputees to run.
And everybody was running back then for above the amputees, a hop-skip style of run, which is their Terry Fox style of run. So you would do a double hop on your sound leg throughout the prosthesis. So when I was running, I introduced running step over step. Not that I'm the first person to do it. I can't believe I'd be the first one because I know other people have done it. They just never did it on a big stage like this. So doing this and everyone seeing that it could be done, it was a huge game changer. Now that only the technology, it was the training had to really step up. So everything changed really in 1988 for the better because of that technology and that training regimen that we brought into the mix. It's a big change of where the Paralympics were really looked at as a recreational sport to where it was a true now sport. And people are out there trying to really challenge themselves and become, gold medalists and world record holders. Big difference.
And the Paralympics are going on right now in Pyeongchang because the Olympics just ended, and so now that just started. So fast forward a little bit because I know there's a lot in between, and if you look these guys up, you can find up a lot of information. But specifically what we're here to talk about today is the Amputee Walking School. And you have a website for that, and you have a resource base on that website. And what you're doing now is that you had your successes, you've traveled the world, and what my understanding is that as you
it evolved,
you realize that there is people that not necessarily on the athletic level, but just your regular person, that people are losing their limbs, and so you wanting to provide this advanced knowledge that you have to people to try and make people not feel it's the end of the world when they lose a limb. And so how did that journey evolve for you?
It kind of evolved from the running clinics. We were seeing a percentage of folks that were coming out to the running clinic who had lost limbs to vascular disease and diabetes in their 60s and 70s, and they were coming out just because they would starve for information. And the fact is that a lot of these folks, and still to this day, they're not getting enough rehab. Our healthcare system is failing us, let's face it, as far as rehab is concerned. For a typical amputee who's a diabetic, even once they come and go to our facility at the Encore, they're going to get 100 days of Medicare under a traditional stay, but a portion of that they're healing. So by developing a program and protocol, which is a comprehensive amputee rehab program with 3 components to it, we're actually able to keep them motivated as we come in each month to help them understand the whole process, especially those who are suffering and not wanting to have an amputation and don't realize there's a positive effect instead of a negative effect. By having the amputation, they heal up, they get in the leg, and they're living life again. They get rid of the sickness in their leg. That in itself, there's a whole documentary just in that to try to get folks to understand that. And so when they come to us, the program is a mentoring program first. So Todd and I meet with every single amputee that comes through the buildings each month. Then there's the training that all the therapists have gone through. And then each month, as the program grows, we will have an in-house amputee walking school that'll be opened up into the community to allow amputees to come into our facility and begin to experience the wellness of making sure we keep these legs on and use them the way they deserve to be used. And that is probably the biggest component to this, is helping folks understand that life after amputation can be beautiful as long as you commit to it. And a lot of these folks, had been down for a very long period of time trying to fight these wounds on their feet. And when the doctor finally says it's time for the amputation, they're just devastated. So, again, the positive effect from what CareRight has been able to provide for Todd and I, this vehicle to change so many people's lives. I mean, in the first year that we were with CareRight, we saw 80 amputees through all of our facilities. In the second year, we're through December, 197 amputees. We're now into our third year to be on
and
pace.
that's widespread through how many states and cities?
It's right now we have
it's New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, Florida.
Okay. So like I mentioned before, I'm a therapist. I have knowledge of treating patients with an amputee, especially post-operatively, within the first month, 2 months, 3 months, where you're still managing the incision and, putting on the shrinker and those types of things, the ACE bandage, because that incision needs to heal first before you can set it into into a prosthetic, into the cup. And so your goal is to be a part of that so that we can properly heal that stump and bring in your knowledge to, you can raise up our knowledge base, because there's a set of therapists that we have there. We all have experience. You're going to raise up our knowledge, which I'm super excited about, and I hear it from the best or the most experienced, because this isn't about you just having a prosthetic. You're not a prosthetist. A prosthetist. No. That you understand that word. Right. You're not the person that's fabricating the prosthesis, and usually that's who oftentimes trains us, because they're the ones most exposed to it. Or they remind us, when you get that new patient in and we haven't seen one in a few months, they kind of give us that refresher, if you will. And so, but you guys actually live it on a daily basis, and so you're going to raise us up in that level of knowledge. And then when you say a walking school, what do you mean? We're going to institute into our facility a walking school program? Is that the goal?
That's correct.
That's correct.
And what's that going to look like?
It's the program itself, which the patients have evolved the program from what it was to what it is, from what their needs were. So we knew we had to start this process earlier, and that's why we brought it to the skill level, because we wanted to work with patients from the beginning. Those that are contemplating amputation and just have the amputation. And through the mentoring program, we can really prepare them for what's going to happen next.
I think it's great.
What's great about the walking school when you do it in-house, so if we're training with somebody in the parallel bars and he just got his prosthesis and Mr. Jones is watching because he's still healing up, like you're saying, it takes a while to heal, that is a life-changing moment when he can see what life could be like a month down the road, 2 months down the road. When we have a community program, it could be 5 years down the road. So those life-changing, those experiences are just life-changing events. And we could talk to somebody to say 1,000 words, but you can in 30 seconds change their life by showing them what they want to see, which is, I'm going to be okay because this is what I can do. And this is where a lot of times patients, when they're contemplating amputation, they don't think that they're going to be more functional if they have the amputation. So you got to show them that they can be. And if you can do that, then it's going to really help them in their decision making. We never say to anybody, you need to have an amputation. That's a decision that the family needs to come to. But if you can show them through education that sometimes it might be better because you will be more functional, and this is what it could be, but still then you need to support them to be able to get to that next level. And this is where these different programs, we always say about the walking schools, no one ever graduates the walking school. We've been doing this for 30 years. We've had over 30,000 amputees come through the program. Nobody's ever graduated the amputee walking school. Nobody ever will, because you need to work at this for the rest of your life. And that message needs to be told to the amputees or those that are contemplating amputation right at the very beginning. So this is something that's a lifelong journey that we are on with you to help you along the way. So,
and when you talk about that your life would be more functional perhaps after an amputation, what you're referring to is that when you have if you have a diabetic neuropathy, a gangrene foot or toe or something like that, and you're battling this infection with antibiotics and with vascular types of treatments, and they're just maybe not working, and so you're not really functioning at your optimal level because you have this failing foot. If you're able to, if you will, remove the negative part of your body now, you reverse its ability to actually function more normally.
Look, bottom line, even for me, I was supposed to be a limb salvage candidate when I lost my leg in a car accident. So a couple of weeks away from signing a contract to play soccer professionally when I lost my leg. But it was a crush injury, and they went in to try to restore the blood flow. That didn't work. And then the doctors came back. They were going to take my lat muscle, my graft from my back, and it was actually a nurse who actually... compassionate, kind woman who overheard the doctors talking and really went over their heads and went to my family. And what the doctors had said was, even if they were going to restore the blood flow, they were going to have to fuse my ankle, and I'd walk with a noticeable limp, and I'd probably be in pain. And she said, if they do an amputation below the knee, eventually be able to get up and learn how to walk on a leg. Walk on a leg, not only walk on a leg, run faster than 85-90% of the people out there with both their legs, and within less than 2 seconds of the great Carl Lewis. So to say that it was the best thing that ever happened in my life, it was.
That's unbelievable.
And on top of it, had I signed that contract to play soccer professionally, my career would have lasted 1 year. The entire league folded.
Yeah.
In 88,
it's doing better now these days.
In 88, we had a 12-year career as professional amputee sprinters. But the work today, that we're doing today, makes everything else pale, especially just within the last 3 years. Because we have been able to reach and change the lives of more than 300 amputees so far in this period of time. 197 amputees in the second year and 80 in the first year. I mean, it's incredible. And the thing about it is, my phone is so packed with case studies of people's lives that have been so significantly changed by this program. We gave them their lives back. And it's all because of what we're doing as a group, which is incredible. You know, the Care Right system, nobody else has this type of commitment to the community of amputees out there. And what's important for folks to understand is that, you know, and listen, I get this, you know, somebody suffers an amputation, the whole family's in turmoil, and then 9 times out of 10, a case manager will come in and say, hey, listen, you know, you're going to be discharged because some places now do an amputation, you got to be out in 2 days. And they'll say, okay, this is all the places that you can go on your insurance to go for rehab.
For rehabilitation.
And they always choose closest to home, which I get it, I understand. But the reality is they don't realize maybe 5 miles down the road or 10 miles down the road, there is this comprehensive specialized amputee rehab program that we can just about get any amputee up in our facilities. We also have a harness system that we have we're going to get state-of-the-art equipment.
The Lake 8.
The Alta G. So this is the place to come to get the best rehab for amputees, hands down. I know I'm saying that
because you were tremendous.
I'm passionate about it because
resource.
I'm so passionate about it because the last 3 years have been the best 3 years of our lives. You know, as far as everything that we accomplished as Paralympic athletes. Yeah, we were the fastest. I long jumped, you know, longer than anybody else that year, and gold medals. Yes, I have 10 medals from all my Paralympic days. Not that I'm bragging or anything, but yeah, I'm kind of a little bit of a narcissist.
You're allowed to brag.
I got more.
Oh shit.
I'm just saying. The work that we're doing now is just so amazing and incredible. You know, we're taking care of our moms, dads, grandmothers, and grandfathers the way they deserve to be taken care of. And I'm thrilled that, you know, we have this ability to bring Whitehall back to where it used to be in the form of a brand new facility named Encore.
Yes.
And you couldn't ask for a better name than that because it is an Encore to be able to take these folks and really help change their lives.
Well,
so we're so thrilled to be part of this community as a group.
I try not to be, like just a walking, cheerleader in here and something like that. But, people know me, and, I've been in that facility for 11 and a half, 12 years, and, and things go through their changes and stuff. And so it's been so exciting to now witness this evolution, this change, and then now to kind of little by little see the different things that Care Right is rolling out is, it's gotten me excited to. I'm always passionate. I work for, even though you work for an employer, as a therapist, I work for myself. I work for the patient, so I've always treated the patients regardless of what's happening corporately and stuff. But it's really exciting when you have a corporate with a whole fresh philosophy and mission and perspective of how they want to approach patient care.
Right.
And when you have that kind of behind you, the resources behind you, it just re-incites you. You know, I've been doing this for 24 years, 25 years. So to kind of still feel yes, sir.
You started when you were 16.
Yeah. So I've been doing it for a long time, and so it's to feel this reinvigoration.
I agree with you.
A reinvigoration, and then to feel like, okay, in my back pocket, because I'm the one that's going to get that patient. And I'm going to be the one going, well, how do I call these guys? Well, now I have your phone numbers. But, and so any of the therapists are going to be able to do that. And so, for me, as a therapist, we're going to know that real quick. But really what has to happen is how do you get the patients to the facility? And so that's what we're here for today, is if there's social workers out there, if there's case managers, if there's doctors, physicians, vascular surgeons, that... find out about this. Look up the Amputee Walking School. Look up Care Right Centers. Look up at the Encore Boca Raton. Come in for a tour. They're located at 7300 Del Prado Circle South at 561-392-3000. And their website is the Encore at, I always get it confused with the Encore@boca.com. And so as far as specifically to find Amputee Walking School, if someone wanted to contact you directly, what's the phone number and website to reach out to you guys? You right into the camera, gentlemen.
Best is to go to amputeewalkingschool.com and contact us right there is the best way to reach us.
And also Care Right Centers.
The Care Right Centers under the signature programs, you see all of our information there too.
Yes, because this isn't about just this facility, the Encore Boca Raton, where we are here locally in South Florida right now. But because this show does have a wider reach, we share it out on Facebook, etc. You may be someone in your state or, a facility, in whatever your facility, wherever you're located, and it may be something you want to incorporate because that's what these gentlemen are trying to do, is they're trying to reach those that are in need, that are it's what I saw was really cool yesterday when I watched one of your old videos. Well, actually, it wasn't an old video. It was you kind of like in a conference room, and you were sidestepping, and quickly. And I'm watching them do this on one limb and then one prosthetic limb, and without any really very close to no, if not any, abnormality in your stride.
Right.
And obviously you're very experienced, with your prosthesis and stuff. But that's, if I'm somebody that's in that wheelchair, and I'm looking up and I'm like, how could you not be an inspiration? And so you guys are tremendous inspirations, even to like you say, even us, that you run faster than people with regular,
All the we always say this, all the exercises become activities, and those activities become second nature. So it's a process that you have to go through. But it's also a process that should be fun, learning all these different things it's training, it's exercises, but it's also fun to do. And then you realize I'm able to do all this great stuff. And you put in a lot of good work, but you had a lot of fun doing it too. So that's what's great about working as a group. The other thing is about, having people understand the importance of walking. You have the prosthesis, you did all this training, now you got to get out there and you got to walk. So we track people's steps and we track how much they're walking. So when they leave us and they come back to the community walking schools, before they leave us, we give them a kit, which has a wristwatch pedometer, a little goal sheet. We want to see how much they're walking at home. We want to monitor them because in order for them to reach second nature, they got to, make the commitment to want to walk. And sometimes, walking from the living room to the kitchen to the bathroom, back to the living room, is not going to put in enough steps to reach second nature.
Right.
Second nature takes a lot of practice.
You got to get out of that. You got to walk further and longer distances.
You got to walk.
So I have a couple questions. When you have been in these, because now you've been several years now partnering with Care Right, and so you've been in these nursing homes and these skilled nursing facilities so you've seen the population of 65, 75, 85. Sure. Those folks, do you, are you running into, where have you seen where it's just too difficult for this person at this particular age? Is age the issue? Is more
age is not the issue.
It's the premorbid conditions.
Oldest person we ever worked with, she was 101 and a half.
Okay.
She was a bilateral, above knee one side, below knee the other side.
And you got her up.
She walked every day. She lived to be 106. The problem is that she actually had the amputations at 90. So she went 11 and a half years without having prosthetic legs. And this is a non-care right facility, a place on Long Island, where they deemed her a non-candidate. But she was the feistiest woman we ever met in our lives. She had more heart and more will to want to do this. She got transferred from the facility she was at to the hospital because she was sick. They didn't save her bed for whatever reason. Then she came back. She had to go to a different facility, different rehab director. She said, I want to walk. They fought for her. They got her up on prosthetics. The first day in the parallel bars, she got up on her legs and she walked down and back.
That's awesome. And people, when they think of when you hear the word skilled nursing facility, or really it's an acute rehab facility, you sometimes think, this is, an end of life kind of place. Not exactly hospice, but where you may go, for, the latter years of your life. But, my experience of why I enjoy the job so much is that because medical technology and medicine and lifestyle has really, people do live longer and they do live well. People have wills. I am inspired by 85-year-olds on the daily.
Doubt.
It's incredible. And so, if we're talking about a skilled nursing facility that actually is providing people options for mobility, and it's tremendous.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about that. The amount of, we've had so many people, so many amputees anyway, that we actually transitioned them. They thought they were going to be in these places, in a skilled nursing facility forever, and they get transitioned to, an assisted living. So that's the goal. Our goal at Care
Or home.
Yeah, or home. Or home, right.
Our
goal at Care is to get people rehabbed and get them back home to their loved ones.
Yes.
So that's the ultimate goal. So it is redefining what a skilled nursing facility group is by really filling a void that's taken place right now, especially in this healthcare industry, where amputees are, quite a few of them in different states, are no longer allowed to go to an acute setting. They're either saying you're going home or you're going to a skilled nursing facility. And so a lot of these folks go home, realize they can't do it at home yet because they don't have a leg, and they transition back to the skilled level. So it's kind of redefining, like I said, what is a skilled nursing facility. CareRite is committed to working with folks, not only amputees, across the board, all the disciplines,
every diagnosis,
to get them home, to get them back to their family. And that's really the goal of what we're trying to do.
That is the goal. That is the goal.
It's really exciting.
It's really focusing on the recovery and the rehab side of the skilled nursing and rehab. This is all about rehab. So once you have the amputation, you come back to our facilities or come to our facilities. This is all about recovery and rehab.
It's really been so much fun too. We have had so much fun interacting with the residents who aren't even amputees.
Yeah.
They see us working with the amputees in the rehab.
Yeah, sure.
And they get so excited. I'm telling you, it's been so much fun. And they get not only get excited, they work harder because we have amputees doing more than
they can
what
do.
they actually should be doing.
So. Well, Todd and Dennis, it's been a super pleasure to meet you.
I look forward to working with you.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be fun.
Look forward to seeing you in the gym, in the months ahead, and to, raising up all of our skills as a therapist. We had a group there. We had 10 to 15 therapists, and so we're really excited to have you. And so thank you for coming in today and taking your time and your trip to Florida. All right. So that's the Amputee Walking School. You can find them over at the amputeewalkingschool.com. We'll be right back with David Eltringham, the personal injury attorney with the Eltringham Law Group.
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Brinker, founder of the Brinker Education Initiative. We provide Hispanic students in South Florida who excel in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, financial support to achieve their educational goals. They are the youngest and fastest growing demographic in public schools, and 18 out of the 25 top best jobs in America are STEM-based. Give the gift of a college education at brinkereducationinitiative.org or contact us at 773-717-6828. That's 773-717-6828. When they succeed, we succeed. Our nation succeeds.
By not losing. Do you know that there are safe money strategies that can benefit you when the market goes up, yet protect you when the market goes down? Hi, my name is Sarah Finkelstein with Signature Advisory Group. I'll show you how you can have safety and opportunity on the same dollar at the same time. You know, most people know where to find safety. That's bank CDs. And most people know where to find opportunity. That's the stock market. But did you know that you can have both without putting your money at risk? I urge you to commit to your financial future. Make an appointment with me for a free consultation and get the life that you deserve.
You want to save time and not be in front of the computer, the dark room of the new photo generation. Let Mobile Portrait Pros come to you, offering business portraits, executive portraits, mobile headshots, actor headshots, and campaign headshots for political teams. Innovation at Mobile Portrait Pros serves Palm Beach County and beyond. Just call 866-443-0873. That's 866-443-0873. Headshots door to door.
If you've been injured in an accident and your health is the most important thing in the world to you, then we're here for you. My name's David Eltringham of the Eltringham Law Group, and we dream of a world with no accidents. But until then, we're here to help you.
Programs include neurology, orthopedics, cardiac and pulmonary care, post-operative surgical care, and outpatient therapies. The Encore at Boca Raton accepts Medicare and other major insurances. Call 561-392-3000 or visit theencore@boca.com for more information today. The Encore at Boca Raton is a proud member of the Care Right Centers Network.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G., and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. Special is very difficult to see. Yes. Welcome back to the show. You are listening to Community Connections. I am your host, Norma Guerrero, and you're listening to us on 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, as well as we are live streaming on Community Connections with Norma G on Facebook. And so I have now David Eltringham. Thank you so much for coming back, David.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I always love it when you come in the studio because you have great insight and great wisdom about what's happening in the community and great compassion for the people that you represent at your firm.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's been a pleasure.
I love being here. So,
and we got into a long conversation last time about the events that happened over at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and that you had a friend that you're connected with, and so it's not something that kind of goes away, does it? It's not in any way, at least in any way, shape, or form. It's really something that our community is still healing from, and I think our nation is still what's the word I want to say? Wrestling with.
Sure, and I think that more than anything, it's something that we shouldn't let go away. Too often these tragedies strike, and they hit the news cycle, they're news for a while, and then something else will come up in the news that will kind of overtake it, and then the conversation just sort of, just ends up in the scrap pile, and nobody ever really does anything. And the one thing I perceive here with this tragic event is that there seems to be a real momentum.
Sure.
I mean, particularly with these so-called kids who I think are really going to have a say politically over the next few years, and I don't really see them letting go. And I hope that they don't, and I hope that they just keep the pressure on our politicians. Florida at least took a small step in the right direction over the past week, and now it's up on the national stage as we speak, so we're going to see what happens.
And I think the important thing to know is that they will, or we all will at the polls, whatever, we will meet whatever brick wall whenever we meet that brick wall, but in the meantime, if there's some things that could be changed that will make systems operate better, or background checks or whatever, and if these kids have been championed, not by will, but by circumstance to lead us in a sense. These kids are leading us because they're filtering this information out to us more on our forefront. Then we need to be. We can't just allow these politicians to just vote whoever's still in their pockets, but to represent what the constituents want.
Yeah, well, sure. One of the problems in Florida, especially at a local level, is a lot of these the legislators in Tallahassee, they don't really have any.
Get closer to the microphone.
Oh, sorry about that. I get the little tap from the window as my cue. These legislators, though, are typically running unopposed in their districts.
Because nobody's involved.
Well,
or not as much.
Well, because of the redistricting that was done, there's no competition. So really, ultimately, these politicians don't answer for whatever laws they pass or don't pass because there's nobody to run against them. So the constituents don't really have a choice. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that certainly at a local level, it makes it more challenging to get the stuff done.
You know, speaking of legislation a little bit, they just passed the texting law, or that they're trying to get it passed, the texting law, so that a police officer can pull you over as a first offense.
Sure, primary offense.
As a primary offense. And that's, you know, you're a personal injury attorney, so you deal with a lot of people that get into car accidents and get injured in car accidents. And so, you know, you're there to help the people after the situation already happens, but prevention is always key to a lot of things. And so I know that family, the Schlossbergs, I don't know if you're familiar with who Emily Schlossberger is, you know, that whole seatbelt safety, you know, that they got passed, that if you're not wearing your seatbelt, that's a primary offense that you could be pulled over for. And now I know that she's championing to get that texting and driving.
Well, there's, and I don't think, at least from what I saw as I was reading last week, and I try to stay up to date on this stuff, I don't think that, I think that bill had lost momentum, that there was some blowback, and I think one of the concerns, at least raised by one or more of the legislators, is the fact that they feel that, you know, this, if you make it a primary offense, then somehow that could end up as problems with racial profiling and whatnot. I don't know that I really bought into that argument at all. You know, and I don't have any data to support that one way or the other. It seemed odd to me. And, you know, the one thing I can tell you is, I would say over the last 5 years, we have just seen a dramatic rise in the number of rear-end automobile collisions. And we've always had those. I mean, it's not like...
Yeah, but if the numbers rise...
But well, it's not just the numbers rising. And here's the key point. The numbers of these rear-end collisions, they've increased, you know, manyfold. But more critically, the injuries. The severity of the injuries has really gone up, and it just sort of, in my mind, I remember I represented a woman a couple of years ago, and she was rear-ended here in Boca up on Yamato. She was at a stoplight, and she was hit by a rather large SUV. It was a Denali, big truck, and she was in a little Toyota with 300,000 miles on it. So you can kind of get the scenario, and the force of that impact was so severe that a witness who happened to have been a cop said in his report that her vehicle was hit so hard that it actually came up off the ground and spun around on 180 degrees. And she, unfortunately, was left with a brain injury. And what was, and mind you, a severe brain injury. And this was a woman who was functioning at a very high level premorbidly or before the accident. And she was the director of a medical practice down, out in Plantation or something like that. And I don't think that she was ever going to work again because her mental capacity had been so affected by this accident. And what was really telling about this accident was that it would seem that it was a case of distracted driving or, most likely texting. There were no skid marks. So this was a high-speed collision, and the woman was so distracted, the other driver was so distracted by whatever she was doing, presumably on her phone, that by the time she looked up, she didn't even have time to brake.
Yeah, that's why my mother, every time I walk out of the house, even I don't live with her, but she's, they're always so fearful that it's not that I may cause an accident, but you don't know what somebody else can create, and then you end up just in a bad train track or, collision of something.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time.
I think that's all of our clients at the end of the day. Our clients, and I always say this, but they were, for the most part, they were perfectly fine the day before the accident. And, they're in the wrong place, the wrong time, and their lives are changed forever. And, albeit some aren't as severe as this woman with the brain injury, but in our practice, we really see a full spectrum of injuries, from very mild or modest injuries to injuries as severe as that, and in some cases we deal with death.
Sure,
so it's really, when you're out there on the roadways in South Florida, you're really taking your life in your hands every time you go out in that car.
David, in a lot of our conversations that we've had over the last couple months, we've talked about how you've represented when your clients come to you and they sit down with you, you don't tell them you're going to get $3 million at the end of this thing. It's really dependent. What I've gathered,
you know why? Because then I'd be lying.
Yeah.
I mean, and I just feel like if I start off a relationship with a lie, where is that relationship going to go?
Exactly. And so, you've been very clear at saying that it's important to know, whoever the insurance person is that you need to report a claim against, that depending on how much insurance that person has will be dependent on how much you may get in the end. You know what I mean? That's important.
And I think it's important to understand. And, this is one of the things I want to talk to you today about is not frequently asked questions, but maybe more aptly should ask questions. And I think one of the real big questions should be, how can any personal injury attorney tell me what my case is worth? And the fact is, we can't. We don't have a crystal ball, and there's some things that that the attorney needs to learn first before he can possibly even take a stab at, guessing, and that's what it is, guessing as to what a case might be worth. At the end of the day, a case is worth as much as the insurance company is willing to pay for it. They hold all the cards. And really, generally speaking, the key question is, how much insurance coverage does the guy that hit me have? And that is generally a ceiling on, as you point out, onto what a case might be worth. So if the person that hit you...
Ceiling, that's the word.
Right. And if the person that hit you has $100,000 in coverage, that's really the most your case could potentially be worth. But to get $100,000, there's a lot of different things that have had to happen. And one is you're going to have an amount of medical bills.
But what if you have a more serious a brain injury, and just like these two gentlemen that I had here prior, the loss of limb, the dismemberment of some sort of your arm, of your upper extremity or lower extremity, and if the tap out is $1,000, if the ceiling is $100,000, but the injury is more of a permanent, how do you reconcile that?
That's really I think the best way to illustrate the impact of insurance coverage on case value. And again, insurance coverage is something that no attorney controls. So the guys on the billboards, the guys on TV talking about I can get you this and I can get you that. At the end of the day, how can they possibly control how much insurance coverage that the driver that hit you has? So to answer your question more, I guess head on, I'll give you an example of really a horrible story, but it illustrates the problem. So we have an employee who's still with the firm. And several years ago, she was dating a man, and he was riding home on his motorcycle. He was coming down in Fort Lauderdale on Dixie Highway, obeying the speed limit and doing everything he was supposed to be doing. He was helmeted, and a woman turned left in front of his oncoming motorcycle. And she was turning left in an attempt to turn into her trailer park. And as you can imagine, that's not a wealthy person who's generally speaking turning into a trailer park. And the thing is, this man was decapitated. And I mean, literally, we talk about losing.
So he died. He died.
Yeah. And he also left behind, I believe, 2 children under 10. So terrible situation. The woman who, by the way, also died in this accident, the woman who caused the accident, she also died. She had $10,000 in insurance coverage. Now, the motorcyclist, he didn't have insurance for his motorcycle. So the value of this case to his estate was $10,000. Because that coverage, even though he was killed in this accident, that coverage was $10,000, and he didn't have what we call uninsured motorist coverage on his motorcycle to cover him, or in the case that somebody would hit him without appropriate insurance. So if you don't self-insure with uninsured motorist coverage, which I would tell everybody that's the most important insurance you can buy in the world, if you don't self-insure with uninsured motorist coverage, then you're just, every time you get on the road, you're rolling the dice. Whatever that person has that hit you, that's really what the case is going to be worth. Because and we see cases, even worse than that example, where there's no insurance, where a good percentage, I think, I can't remember. I saw the stat this week. It was a huge percentage of Florida drivers have no insurance.
So your payout doesn't change necessarily on the severity of your injury or disability, long-term disability potentially. It's still ultimately on the ceiling on what the other person's insurance is.
Yeah, and so when I talk about this to my clients all the time, when I'm trying to get them to understand, like, the system generally doesn't get clients rich at all. That's just really, that's a myth. I feel like that the vast majority, overwhelming majority of accidents settle for between $0 and $100,000. And when you see the commercials, they're advertising, this firm got so-and-so $750,000, or they got them $1 million, or whatever it was. Those high settlements like that, certainly the seven-figure settlements, they're like unicorns.
Meaning if you fall at or get injured at a popular place, the mall or something.
That's probably not even the best example. Let's think of, say, somebody who was hit by a commercial carrier like the FedEx truck.
Okay, yeah.
You're hit by the FedEx truck and they run you over, and you don't have a sprained neck or something like that, but you have catastrophic injuries. You're in a wheelchair. You're going to have huge medical expenses for the rest of your life. And as I say to my clients, in those cases, whatever they end up giving awarding the client typically is not enough to ever compensate them for those type of injuries. So when you see those big cases where they're advertising on TV like this happens all the time, it doesn't happen all the time. They're big accidents with big injuries where it happens to involve typically a commercial carrier. In my experience, I would say 95% of the cases we see involving personal policies, meaning individual drivers like you and me, the coverage is between 0 and 100. So chances are, if you're out on the roadway and get into an accident, you're going to be dealing with somebody who has insurance coverage of 0 to 100.
Okay.
And one of the real big...
Well, good to know. You get into a fender bender and you're just, I'm going to sue you. You know what I mean?
There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
And so there's just this myth out there that everybody's getting rich. And I would argue that the clients aren't getting rich. The lawyers who do it the right way generally are not getting rich. And the guys on the billboards, those are the guys who are getting rich, because what they're doing is, because they're not making all the money off of any one case, but they have such a volume of cases because they're doing this massive advertising, and they're sort of pandering to this sort of get rich quick notion. Oh my God, I got into a fender bender.
Right.
I'm going to hire ABC law firm, and they're going to get me $1 million. And I think that most clients in those scenarios end up really largely very disappointed.
And so what are a few of the questions that if someone finds themselves in a situation, they're in a hospital or they get home and they realize I need to hire an attorney, what types of questions should someone be asking you? If they were to call you up on the phone, what are some top questions that...
I think that the number one thing you want to do is make sure you hire a personal injury lawyer. Not a lawyer who maybe he does this sometimes, or he's handled a few cases.
So make sure it's a personal injury attorney.
Right, somebody who's an expert in personal injury. So for example, at our firm, we don't handle any other type of cases. Zero. It's all personal injury, and predominantly, at least at this juncture, it's mostly car accident work. So if you've been in a car accident, you want to hire an attorney who's an expert in handling car accidents. Obviously that information should be available on a lawyer's website. But if it's not, then the client prospectively, they need to come prepared and ask these questions of the lawyer. Who are you? What's your experience? How long have you been doing this? What percentage of your cases are automobile accident cases just like mine? And I think those questions would be a great way to start any conversation. You want to hire a specialist, and you don't want to, if you had a heart problem.
Yeah,
you don't. You're
not seeing the ankle doctor.
Yeah, you're seeing the podiatrist. You want to make sure that you have a specialist for that, and I think that's important. One of the things I would say is, don't focus on a lawyer's past results. One of the things that lawyers love to do and we don't do this at all. I never talk about my past results. I never talk about our history with other clients because for the most part, it's totally irrelevant to your case. If the two biggest factors about how much a case is worth, how much insurance coverage is there, lawyer has nothing to do with that. What are your past medical expenses? Lawyer has little to do with that. So what he did on Mary's case a year ago has nothing to do with your case. So I would focus more on, if it was me being an informed consumer, I'd say, what is your process? What's your, what's the thing that differentiates your firm from the other firms that do what you do? Why should I hire you? What makes you any better than the guy down the street? Those are the questions I'd start with.
Yeah, well, we've answered those in the previous shows that we've had together regarding that your health first mindset and encouraging people to understand that your health is the greatest thing that you can have, even more so than money sometimes.
I think always.
Well, always. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need money to pay for some of the resources and stuff. So we have David Eltringham with the Eltringham Law Group, and they can be found at www.eltlaw.com. And their number is 561-338-0420, and they're located in between Palmetto and Camino on Federal Highway in East Boca Raton. Thank you, David, for all of the insight and information that you've provided for us. And it's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
All these weeks.
It's been great.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll be back with another episode of Community Connections with Norma Jean next week, and you can find us at www.ccnormajean.com. Have a great week, everyone, and thank you, Dennis and Todd from the Amputee Walking School.
If you've been injured in an accident and you believe that your health is the most important thing in the world to you, then we're here to help you. My name's David Eltringham of the Eltringham Law Group. And at ELG, everything that we do is about helping our clients to restore their health and heal from their injuries. I believe that if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, and all the money in the world doesn't matter. So if you've been injured and you want a law firm that actually cares about you, getting you better, and then getting you the financial justice that you deserve, we're the right firm for you. At ELG, we dream of a world with no accidents, but until then, we're here to help you. If you've been injured in an accident and you believe that your health is the most important thing in the world to you, then we're here to help you. My name's David Eltringham of the Eltringham Law Group. And at ELG, everything that we do is about helping our clients to restore their health and heal from their injuries. I believe that if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, and all the money in the world doesn't matter. So if you've been injured and you want a law firm that actually cares about you, getting you better, and then getting you the financial justice that you deserve, we're the right firm for you. At ELG, we dream of a world with no